Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Discussions with Dolf, and today I am on a rooftop with a rather unique view of what is in front of me. Here the suburb right in front of me is known as Slima, but behind that across the waterway you've got Valletta. Valletta of course is the old capital of Malta, and Valletta has an extraordinarily interesting history because this country over the centuries has been conquered by the Turks and the Byzantines and the Ottomans and the Arabs and the French and the British and probably more that I haven't even begun to think of. And as such, the culture is rich with influences from all these conquerors and all these societies. In fact, Valletta is so astoundingly beautiful. It's hewn almost entirely out of limestone bricks that have been assembled into the most stunning architecture, that the entire city has been designated a World Heritage Park, and as far as I'm aware, it's the only city in the world that's got such a designation. Anyway, very fascinating history, and the country of itself is rather fascinating. There are beautiful cathedrals inside the city of Valletta, but the whole island, by the way, it's a tiny island. It's only about 13 miles by 19 miles, which in metric terms about 19 kilometers by 30 kilometers. So it's tiny, and yet in that tiny area you've got 365 churches or cathedrals. They're nearly all Catholic. I believe Malta is the most Catholic nation on this planet, with something like 98.7% of the population professing to be Catholic. I don't think that is matched anywhere in the world. But anyway, you've got all these churches and cathedrals, so you could choose to visit one a day for an entire year, and you wouldn't have to see the same one twice. That is somewhat remarkable. But anyway, I want to talk with you today about insider trading, because as you all know, when you have insider trading in just about any market, be it the stock market, the share market, the commodities market, futures, exchanges, options, insider trading is a big no-no. It is illegal, in fact, and there are many notorious people who have, of course, spent time in prison because they were accused and found guilty of participating in insider trading. And yet when it comes to real estate or property, you can be the most blatant practitioner of insider trading, and yet there is no rule or even law against it. For instance, let's imagine that council is planning a zone change where a particular part of a city or a cluster of streets is going to be changed from residential to commercial. You can go along to the council meeting and find out about this impending change and then take action on it by buying up residential properties along the streets where they're going to have these changes. And then the general assumption is that when the zoning changes from residential to commercial, and you can now attract commercial tenants as well as residential tenants, then the value will go up, because generally commercial rentals per square meter or per square foot tend to be higher, and they have more value because tenants tend to want longer term leases. Tenants earn their income on the premises, so they have a vested interest in keeping them looking good. The advantages of commercial leases over residential tenancies are numerous. So anyway, generally the value will go up. So if you buy these properties and you cash in on the fact that it's become commercial, you might benefit financially, but there are no consequences from an insider trading point of view. I love that fact. In fact, you don't even need to go to the council meetings. Often council these days will broadcast their meetings live on the internet, and you don't even need to attend them there. You could pay someone $10 an hour or whatever the going rate is where you live to listen to these meetings and find out what the zoning changes are. In fact, you probably don't even need to do that. You can probably look up online, like textually, to find out what the changes are and act on that information and do very well of it, and it's not considered out of form. I love that aspect about real estate. It is just another reason why I think real estate is one of the most unfettered markets that you can operate in the world, and why people who tend to be long-term practitioners of it tend to do extraordinarily well. And I just want to remind you, this is true for most of the Western world. When people retire, when they reach that retirement age, even though it seems to be creeping up these days as people live longer and their expectations of a long life are greater, as people retire, generally their biggest asset will be the home they live in. It's not the money they put into the stock market that they thought would go up by a factor of 20. It's not the stamp collection that someone told them once would quadruple in value, or some collection of other generally useless thing, or that classic car they bought that they thought would be worth $1 million. It's their home. And you'll often hear these people lament, if only we'd bought a second one, then we'd be that much better off. And that's why I really want you to think hard about this long-term formula that I talked about in my very first book, and that's 15 books ago, that if you buy one house a year for 10 years, you will be financially free. And what do I mean by financially free? That you can buy your own private Boeing 787 Dreamliner to go wherever you want? Not necessarily, not that kind of free. But based on your current lifestyle, your passive income will exceed your outgoings. And you see, the challenge for most people when they start to earn money is their expenses go up. Because their income is doubled, their expenses treble, because now they need a car or a second car or a third car to impress their friends. They need to holiday in greater places. The trick to being financially free is to just earn a bit more than you spend. Or if you want to put it slightly differently, spend a bit less than you earn. And when I'm talking about earning, I mean earn passively, because if you're still working for money, then you're not really free at all. You are hooked into a job. In fact, there's a great saying that if you're not working on your own dream, then someone else will hire you to work on theirs. And you've got to figure out what is your dream and then get down there and do it. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today. I want to thank you for watching, and I want to wish you, as always, until next time, successful investing. Thank you.